Hey there, it's time for some gratitude. October 31st, 2025. It's midday, it's noon. You notice I've got a bumper sticker up there. It says Hudaberg for South Dakota House of Representatives. Vote for Gary Hudaberg for House Dakota House of Representatives. It's the last day of the month. Being the last day of the month, it always means that there's a bunch of financial stuff going on. I do have two organizations that need support. Right now, I've got my nonprofit, and I also have my political campaign. If you have extra money, if you have extra resources, I'd love it. If you went to Gary4SD.com, you can donate there. I also have Soda Sodak. .org. That's my nonprofit organization. If you have a minute and you have extra funds and you can donate, if you want to do both, that really makes my day. But being able to donate to these organizations makes a big difference. Helps me to be able to get my message out there. It helps me to be able to be effective. Soda Sodak goes to the kids, being able to help them to be able to find meaningful jobs, meaningful careers, meaningful purpose. So just something I'd be grateful for is if you can support these organizations. Today, I've had a very busy day. I've been cold calling. It's always amazing going and creating something out of nothing. It's always amazing going and deciding to meet with business people, not scheduled, not having a plan, but knocking on the door, going to the business, going and having a conversation to learn about what their goals are, learn about ways that we can be able to work together. It's a lot of fun with cold calling because I get to learn. Learning is one of my absolute favorite things. Being able to go and to get curious about the world, to be able to understand. I'm what you would call a lifetime learner. Every single day, I have this expansiveness, this curiosity, this sense of wonder. And I was able to meet with somebody that worked for an auto dealership today, someone that had been in that business for a long time. I met with people that have seed and agricultural businesses. And then I also met with people that are in education and also people that worked at the library. And going and talking to these people gives me insight about what's going on in the world. What is going on? On a consistent basis, I heard about challenges. So when I hear about challenges, oftentimes I'll go, hey, how are things going? What do you think's going on? What do you see? What's important? What's on your agenda? The thing I heard about the most, inflation. Inflation is where the monetary supply changes, where there's more money printed. So we get paid money, but then you have a group of people that go and they print more. You might see the meme where they go, money printer go burr, and where more money gets printed. And so your money is less valuable because this other money gets printed. And that's part of the challenge with the inflation. And we know that President Trump's working to be able to address this in ways to be able to look at ways to be able to put America on a better footing. And when we look at it, it's difficult because there's different perspectives on this. Some people say that the monetary policy is good. I believe it's called Keynesian monetary policy. And I'm not going to go down that because there's a ton of things that I'm not an expert on. But over time, we'll work on this. I remember there was a politician when I was younger that I really liked and respect. I still really like and respect him. His name is Ron Paul. Ron Paul often talked about a gold standard. So is that the monetary value would be set, that we would have a gold reserve, and that a dollar bill would equal a dollar's worth of gold. And so that the dollar would be pegged to the value of gold, because gold is a resource that no more can be made. It's a static resource. It's a very interesting thing. When I think about gratitude and being a lifetime learner and learning about that inflation is a major challenge, I think about some of the conversations where they talk about how they'd have team members Pay increased dramatically. Some of the numbers I don't talk about, it was a private conversation, I don't talk about what the numbers were, but a very dramatic increase, like 35 to 40% increase in pay to be able to continue to make a living. And then there was an acknowledgement with a couple of the people where they talked about how the challenge that people run into is how do you make ends meet if you're on a family and you're just making, so much money? How do you make ends meet? It was mentioned that 5 years ago, for people that were in agriculture, things were very good. When we look at 5 years after, it seems to be that you have to work twice as hard to just make ends meet. So having to work twice as hard for about the same thing is a big challenge. When we look at corporate profitability within the United States within the last 5 years, we've seen a doubling of corporate profitability. It was, I want to say 1.8 trillion, now it's about 4 trillion corporate profitability, but I don't think it's going to the farmers here. When we talk about this corporate profitability, I think that the corporate profitability that's happening is going to the very top percentage. And I'd really like to see it be something that's more going to the people that are actually doing the work, that are creating the opportunity, that are being able to do that. I don't know how to solve that yet, but this is what we're talking about, is being able to work with that. When I think about my day-to-day and I think about my experience and understanding of gratitude, and I think about what gratitude means to me, it is counting blessings. Think about our faith as something to be grateful for. Faith. Prayer is something to be grateful for. I pray to fully accomplish what God sets me out to do. I pray that God shows me the way, that I can be built, I can be developed. I think about where I used to be in my life, where I wasn't effectual, where I wasn't capable, where I didn't have progress, where I suffered with the Great Depression. And I think about now, where I pray to be so effective. I pray to learn so much, to be competent, to become a very skilled and powerful politician, to be able to skillfully navigate and understand how to build successful society. Building a successful society is a challenge. It's an ever ongoing process. Something that comes up and I hear about regularly is people's experiences that are negative. People might have negative experiences. So we have that negative experience. We have something that happens where it's not as expected, where it doesn't reflect the energy that we'd like to see. And when that negative experience happens, oftentimes people start to dim their light. I know that when we started this process earlier this week, we were talking about dimming light. And I was talking about how I would dim my light because I'm afraid of being overwhelming. I'm afraid of being too much, of being perceived as somebody that's way out there. Ooh, Gary. But at the end of the day, that's what makes me special. When we think about these negative experiences, I think about racism, bigotry, foolishness. When I read Jesus' gospel on an ongoing basis, there is this talk that God loves all of us. It's not just one group. It's not just me. It's not because I'm a Christian, I'm not in a boat that makes me safe and everybody else is just out of luck. It's that we are all in this together. Being in all this all together means that we need to find ways to work together. It doesn't mean I'm going to agree with everything. It doesn't mean I'm going to be the person that goes and just buys in to what people tell me. But what it does mean is that I'm going to have a commitment to work together. to find solutions. I think about how much energy is wasted on a job site. I think about job sites. I spend a lot of time on job sites. When I'm on a job site, I think about what the experience is of what people experience when we have these conflicts. When we have this, and I've seen it all sorts of different ways. I've been the only white guy on the job site. I've been on a job site where it's all white folks, and you have one person from a different group. I've seen it every different way that it can work out. But if we agree and make a commitment to find solutions and to work together, we can do so much more. We can be able to have a future, because it's the future that matters. It's not about today. Today matters, and I like today. I'm really happy today. I had a good bit of driving, no music on, just being in my thoughts, thinking about how happy I am. But when we think about what we want the future to look like, what's a good future? I'd love to have you put in the comments what you want to see in the future, what you think would be positive in the future for us. But I think about futures, and I think about a quote that I heard from John Fitzgerald Kennedy, and it's from a song that I listened to. And it's a funny thing because you have these music tracks and they play this music and you'll hear these tracks. But he said, "We all cherish our children's futures." It's tough right now because we're in such a time of transition. We have artificial intelligence. We have ways that the world is changing. We have conflicts. We have uncertainty. This uncertainty and this conflict puts us in a situation where we don't know exactly what the future is going to hold. I remember in the 90s, there was this idea that things are going to get better. But things are good, but we don't know about the expansion. And then I remember in the 2000s, we had the technology boom. We had the internet boom. We had all of that. And that went until about 2007, and then there was a big crash. But there was this idea in the 90s of like, things are good, we're happy, everybody kind of gets along. We had the AI, we had the technology boom. And now we're seeing all of this, where there's this uncertainty. So the question becomes, how do we protect our children's futures? How do we create futures that are worthwhile for our children? Because there's all these different issues. We can go look at, politically, we can go divide ourselves up a million different ways. We can go divide and conquer, right? We can say, oh, you are pro-life, pro-choice. You are for any of these number of things. We can just go down the list. Guns, immigration, dot, dot, dot. We can go make an infinite list of things that we can go be separated and we can argue about. But there's a point where we want to step back and we want to look sensibly and say, what do we really want? What really matters? I think, in my mind, a good society is based on education. I think that education is one of the most important cornerstones of a successful society. It's what you do with your children. It's how you raise them. It's how you educate them. It is the environment that they are in that will show them, hey, this is what the world can be. This is how we can flourish. This is how we can be able to grow, flourish, and really thrive. The thrive is what we want. Thriving is the goal. Thriving, thriving, thriving. Being able to see expansion, to be societies growing, developing, learning, and getting better and better and better each and every day. If we focus on the divide and conquer, other people are going to win. I was in a training in Las Vegas, a political training, and we go in and there's probably 400 people there. And you go into the conference room, and the first thing that's sitting, because they have packets of information that they give you, and the first thing that's sitting on one of the packets of information on everybody's desk is a super controversial issue. They have immigration, homosexuality. They have guns. They have no guns. They have all of this. And we go up there and it kind of piques your curiosity. It gets you curious. It gets you wondering, what exactly is this about? Well, with the information they were putting up there, they were showing that every single one of those ads, they were ads that had been posted on Facebook or one of the social media things, but every single one of those ads had come from the same source. And the source was overseas. And so they go, and you have this divide and conquer where we focus on the division. And again, my answer isn't just go agree with people because you don't want to get in a conflict. I think that conflict can be beneficial sometimes. Sometimes it's necessary. But this divide and conquer really hurts us because it doesn't allow us to work together on the things that really matter, like education. What about transportation? You might not care about transportation. You might say you don't care about transportation, but I promise you, your county council cares about transportation. Your county council spends an extraordinary amount of time, probably 50% of their time, on transportation, roads, bridges, infrastructure. Because we can't have a successful society, we can't have a thriving society with companies that are able to sell their goods and services, with people that are able to send their kids to schools without these basic things, this education, this transportation. These are necessary components of a successful society. These are things that are the cornerstone of what will build a wise and flourishing society. When we talk about the Federalist Paper, when we read about the founding of this country, there were elements where there was a recognition of the importance of being able to have a thriving population, to be able to have this growth. So when we think about gratitude today, I think about great gratitude for having this conversation, for being able to go and discuss and think about and promulgate ideas that will help us to grow. Just as a reminder, GaryForSouthDakota.com, SodaSodak.org for donations. Please, 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 please. I'd love to be able to see those donations ring because it makes a huge difference in our functionality, our capability, and our growth, and in the ability to be able to share this message. When I think about gratitude, and I keep returning to it because in my mind I keep returning to gratitude. I want you to get to a point where you can just constantly pull up gratitude. You can constantly live in gratitude. When I think about gratitude, I'm grateful for today. It's the only Friday, October 31st, 2025 that will ever happen. This moment right now is precious. This moment right now, this present moment, presence. I'm not worried about the future. I'm not worried about the past. I'm in this moment. I'm existing right now today. And being able to be present in this moment is a very special thing. There's a lot of people right now where they're caught up in what do other people think about me? What's going to happen tomorrow at the football game? What's this? What's that? Where am I going to get drugs? Where am I going to get alcohol? Where am I going to get this? There's people at a subsistence level. It's where am I going to get food? Where am I going to get food's a big issue right now. We think about that stress and that anxiety, and I'm grateful for the peace that I live in and that I experience internally. We'll use the word serenity. Serenity is a wonderful experience. I can sit in my van and I can drive. I can be fully engaged and aware and present with what's coming up to me on the road, and I can just be present. And I can be in serenity, and I can be in joy of this moment. The happiness of this moment, of just being able to sit here, stay here, and be present. And it's really wonderful. It's a beautiful thing. I don't need anything else. Sovereignty. That is something that's really special. It's to be able to stand alone, to be able to have strength and wisdom, to be able to stand alone and have confidence in yourself and your message. I'm grateful for purpose. I was knocking on doors, but I also had phone calls. And I have a project that I'm working on to build pathways to construction careers for rural community members and for tribal members. And I had a conversation with a gentleman I'm going to meet with on Monday who works in the construction industry who is interested in working with me on that. And it's a lot of fun to be able to have that purpose. It's joy, it's special, it's a beautiful, wonderful thing. I'm grateful for planning and organization. I'm grateful for thinking ahead of time about what the next step is, about what do I need to accomplish next. Where am I right now? Where am I going? How do I get from here to there? What is that really crazy, huge goal that I'm working towards, that planning and organization will work towards? I am grateful for my team. I'm grateful for being a part of it. I'm grateful for being a leader of the team. I'm grateful for the call that I had last night with a friend of mine who is moving into a different level of engagement with what we work on. He's already been at an amazing level, and he's decided that he wants to step into a different role, to step into a role to prepare to take over one of my organizations for me. It'll take several months. It'll take some planning and organization. It'll take definition of purpose, but I promise you it will be wonderful. It will be a beautiful thing. This is one of the things that brings me the most joy in my life, is to be able to have these teams of people, to be blessed to have people that are motivated, that are intelligent, that are wise, that are interested in being able to go and to be able to carry forward these purposes. Because these purposes, I can only do one thing. I only have 24 hours in a day. I only have the competence and the ability to be so many places at one time. And my time and energy is best spent in planning and thinking about and carrying forward missions. And so it's an honor to have brothers and sisters that wish to carry forward this purpose. Now, just a reminder, it's inspiring excellence in others. Call it legendary, meaning that it's witnessed excellence, meaning that we have that commitment to completion, that we carry things through, we get everything done. There's some of you that are watching this that are trapped. You're trapped in the world. You're trapped in the pornography, drugs and alcohol. You're trapped in the mental health, the depression, all of these sorts of things. If there's any message I can tell you today that will get through, start finding gratitude. Start being grateful for seeing something beautiful today. It's raining, there's a little bit of sleet outside, and I was thinking about how beautiful it is getting to see that. And how I like feeling the snow. I don't like rain on my head, but I do like feeling the snow on my head because it falls down and it melts. It makes me grateful. But the more that we cultivate gratitude, it's like going to the gym. The more we cultivate gratitude, the better we get at gratitude. The better we get at gratitude, the easier our life is, the happier we are. And then we can really be able to accomplish this legendary excellence. I'm grateful for you watching. I know that there's a number of moving parts in my life. I know that there's a number of things that when you look at it, you're like, how does he do everything? Well, I have a great team. And I love doing it. This is my life purpose. This is what I focus on. This is what, after so many years of difficulty, so many years of true despondency, sadness, 25 years, this is the gift. This was the gift at the end of it. And it's not just that it's the gift, but it's a gift I have to give to others. And it's not money. It's not anything other than this simple focus on gratitude and faith. You don't have to believe in anything right now. You can be against God, but if you start writing gratitude over time, it will change your heart and it will change your perspective. It will change the stone, the hardness of your heart over time, and it's worth it. It's really worth it. The more we live in that gratitude, the happier we will be, the more joyous we will be. It was a lot of fun today cold calling because there was somebody who was a little bit older and they were in their car and they're going up and I always wave. I always like the cheesy wave because I don't look like a guy that would wave like this. And I went into one building because I was dropping some information off and I waved like that. She waved back. And then I was coming out of the building and she waved and I was like, you know what? I've got more paperwork. Why don't I knock on the door and talk to her? And it was funny because I was talking to her. She said, "Oh, I saw you in the newspaper." And that's a wonderful thing, to be able to be recognized, to be able to have that feedback. Positive feedback is something that I'm grateful for. Being recognized is a nice thing. How can you be recognized today? I'd love it if you put it in the comments about what you're going to do today that can be recognized. Maybe it's recognized by you, that you're taking care of yourself today. Maybe you're at a very basic level of survival, and maybe taking a shower today would be a big deal. Maybe getting out of bed would be the win. Put down, if that's the big thing, to get that positive feedback, to get that encouragement, to be able to call forward to others the joy of being able to get positive feedback. Don't look at me and think, oh, Gary's this big white guy. He's so charismatic. He's so strong. He's so this. It's easy for him. It wasn't. It was really hard. It took so much difficulty to be able to get where I'm at now. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the horrible things that happened. I'm grateful for the hardship because it taught me how to be able to get to this point. It taught me that the way that I can keep it is to give it to others, to be able to help other people to find their purpose, their meaning, their gratitude, and to create larger and more expansive lives that build more positivity in this world. This is a great place for us to stop because I don't know if you heard the beeping, but lunch is pretty close to ready and I'm starving because I'm only eating like 1.5 meals a day and I'm usually eating around noon, so I'm ready for lunch. But with that, I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. It was really nice being able to chat today. If you can, check out my Patreon. If you can, check out GaryForSD.com. We've got some bumper stickers that'll be coming. So we'll probably find some way to be able to distribute the bumper stickers. We also have SOTA-SODAC.org. It's S-O-T-A, just like the last 4 letters of Minnesota. First 2 letters is South. First 3 letters is Dakota. SOTA-SODAC.org. That's my nonprofit. That's one of our mission tools that we use to be able to spread the gospel, to be able to share the same ideology, same strength that we're seeing demonstrated here on a larger scale to younger people as a mission. So with that, God bless you with legendary excellence. Thank you for watching. We'll talk again soon.